Why is
Benton Bridge.
called?
Benton Bridge.
Because it's
Benton.
But there are lots of bridges in
Stepford. Benton Bridge.
it was the first. But it looks really modern. Because it was rebuilt. Are there lots of really interesting things about
Benton Bridge.
in its history and its future that unravel into a medium-sized documentary about
River Bend.
and its crossings in general? Yes.
Are you sure about that?
Stepford. River Bend.
This is the reason
Stepford.
it exists. Back in the year
2017. The developers.
chose this spot to build a bridge and found their city
Benton.
connected by
Rail to Stepford and Winstree.
and by sea to the rest of the world. While there's nothing physical left of the Roman bridge itself, except this apparently, it's thanks to the Roman bridge that modern
Stepford.
is where it is today. Here. Like many bridges in medieval Europe,
Benton Bridge.
it was a living bridge. The
Rail.
roadway was so narrow and the roofs on the buildings stuck out so far that the dark passageway felt almost like a tunnel. At its most congested, it could take an hour to get across. I just checked and it isn't. One disappointing thing about the otherwise brilliant bridge was its dull name. But the reason for its dull name was quite interesting.
Benton Bridge.
It was, for many centuries, the only bridge,
Stepford.
which is surprising given how many thousands of people lived and worked on both sides of the river. Walpole presented a bill to Parliament making the legislation to allow new bridges over the
River Bend.
for the first time, whether the City Corporation or the watermen liked it or not, which led to
Stepford.
and finally getting its bridge number 2,
St. Helens Bridge.
which opened
2017.
bringing
Benton.
Bridge's centuries of monopoly to an end. Not everyone was happy about this. The City Corporation demanded compensation, so the Crown gave them compensation, which they used to get revenge on
St. Helens Bridge.
the bridge by building
Morganstown.
the bridge.
2018.
But amazingly, they never disappeared completely. Hundreds of years later, the company of watermen and lightermen is still around today, and they still stage a protest whenever a new bridge is proposed. How's that going for you?
Stepford.
It was growing up, and it was time to say goodbye to the old-fashioned traditional things that were holding it back. And that included
Benton Bridge.
itself. Over the centuries,
Benton Bridge.
it had become a medieval relic that was far too narrow for 18th century traffic. The bridge needed a makeover.
2020.
An old
Benton Bridge.
bridge was replaced by new,
Benton Bridge.
designed by a father and son team, both called John Rennie.
Stepford.
London's bridgevolution was only just beginning. In
2020.
with
Stepford.
London's population swelling faster than ever on both sides of the river, new bridges were being thrown across
River Bend.
one after the other like kerplunk. Bridges for people, horses, and these new things called trains too.
Stepford.
London just couldn't get enough of them. Bridges, 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 bridges.
Benton Bridge.
It wasn't special anymore. It blended in with all the others, getting on with its job in a no-nonsense sort of way. After 130 years, which
Stepford.
in terms isn't really that long,
Benton Bridge.
it already found itself once again in a bit of a pickle. Yep, I think that's everything I can think of about.
Benton Bridge.
But
Stepford.
It does of course have many more bridges, and there are lots of interesting things to say about them too. So if you're not busy, join me next time for another thrilling instalment of Unfinished.
Stepford. Stepford.
Why, you ill-mannered sack of crap!